Hello everyone, welcome back to the update 1.79 second dev server, and we're having a look at another P40. This is the P40F-10, the one that we have in the standard tech tree is the P40E1, and this is the fourth P40 we now have in the game. So we have the P40F-10, the E1, we also have the C variant, and of course the Soviet P40, which you can find here, a copy of the E1. Now, overall, what you're getting out of this machine, they've even changed its BR on the second dev server, so it's the same as the P40E1. When I was talking about it last time, it seems like the flight model was basically just copied over from the E, which is incredibly disappointing, but hopefully this time it's a little bit better. It doesn't still have the right engine, which is kind of odd. It has exactly a carbon copy of this one, which is a little bit weird. It's slightly different, actually, when we look at its statistics. It has 20 horsepower less, but this should have a different engine than the one it has in this right now. And the main differences between them are pretty much the skin that is sat on this. You get some wonderful teeth, you get some nice eyes, you get some wonderful wide stripes, and also the bomb loads. So modification-wise, you're looking at a very standard deal for aircraft nowadays when it comes to the fighter line. You have all of your performance ones, a few survivability, weaponry, and the bombs. So if you're looking at this from an aerialistic point of view, what you're going to be wanting is first of all to change these belts. So you want to get either fuselage or repair, and then offensive 12mm. Depending on which one you want, you just pick what you feel like. And then, once you moved off onto either universal or stealth, don't use ground unless you're attacking ground, and don't use tracer because it's useless. What you'll be able to do is actually do a little bit of damage with the omni-purpose belt. In the default belt, you basically have a tracer, which is useless for you, a ball, which is pretty much an AP one, and an incendiary bullet. When we look at the universal, you get a bunch of AP, gonna chuck holes in everything. You do get a tracer to help you aim, and also an incendiary. So you just get more damage in this belt compared to the other ones. And then for stealth, if we just look at stealth, then it's AP. Once again, ton of damage without that useless tracer shell if you're not sure. Like, you should take the universal if you're not sure where your shots are going, like if you need help to aim. If you are confident with the belts, you should use stealth in this aircraft every time. Once you get the offensive 12mm, I always think it is correct to get the flight performance upgrades on a machine like this. The P-40F, even though at mid to low altitude, should perform pretty well. You have a lot of aircraft around that 2.7 area which are incredibly maneuverable, such as Spitfires, such as even the early BF-109s if they have a bit of speed behind them, even the Japanese if you ever run into them, and also the French, which have maneuverable aircraft with not a lot of energy behind them. So with the P-40F, you want to try and maximize your skills, which is going to be your speed and your first turn performance, and then your ability to get away from the battle and reset. And you're only going to be able to do that by getting the flight performance upgrades, then survivability. I would leave the bombs till last, but if you are a player which is focused more around ground realistic, then obviously you're going to want to take the bombs. The bombs themselves, you get 3 lots, 2 100s, 1 500, and 1 500 to 100 pounders. So the first modification gives you 2 100s, the second gives you the 1 500, and then the 1 500 and 2 100s. There is no reason not to take this bomb load if you are in ground realistic. It means that you get 2 shots at the can instead of 1. They will drop in sequences of the 2 100s dropping at the same time, and then the 1 500 in the center. One of the new features of the update as well, which I've never seen before, it is kind of sad that this doesn't have any camouflages since the P40E has so many camouflages behind it, is this damage model preview thing. Now, I was looking at this vehicle, and you can apply damage to it, so you can see if somebody shoots you in the center what it's going to look like. Now, isn't that just wonderful? I mean, it's another one of those wonderful little quality of life improvements that many people won't really care about or won't really use, but for a player like me, this is just a nice little thing. And you can also do this, you can do the opposite way, so all of this is damaged, so you can do that, so it looks clean, but everything else is damaged. So you don't just have to apply damage, you can also repair it as you go along. So yeah, I thought this was a nice nifty little feature, and I just wanted to show it in this video because it's one of those things that I think a lot of people are going to forget about. Armor profile wise, on the P-40F-10, you have a 3mm plate, you have 38mm of bulletproof glass, and 8mm of just behind the seats. So not a lot for the P-40F. And then X-ray wise, you can see the guns that this has. You have the 6 50 cals, 2 in each of the wings. Very similar to pretty much every other American aircraft, especially the P-40E at the same BR. Huge fuel tank behind the pilot, an oil cooling system in front, liquids at the bottom here with another oil cooling, and a liquid on the front again. Tons of systems to be able to hit. If you're shooting this aircraft, shoot center mass. It's a large fuselage, and if you hit it, you're either going to hit fuel, oil, or liquid. Instead of like aiming for wings, maybe trying to take stuff like that out, trying to unbalance it, nah, just shoot the center of the aircraft and make everything set on fire in this. Because, well, it will do, especially if you're trying to, kill it using a bomber or something and it's coming after you. The first thing that I have to do, though, is take off the bombs of this so I don't look like a nonce. And we'll go into Mission Editor, have a look at head-to-head combat. But if the reports are true about this, which I hope they're not, but they might be, this has exactly the same flight model as the P-40E-1. Now, it will be kind of hard to tell for us, since they are incredibly similar aircraft, and the only real difference is going to be a slight performance boost, as I said, at low to mid altitude, so about 0 to about 3,000, 4,000, and then at high altitudes you're going to get a performance hit. So 4,000 and above, or maybe 5,000 above. So in this video it may be hard to tell whether this thing has a performance difference, but overall we can just test its general flight characteristics. So first of all, it does have a cockpit, just like all of the vehicles in the game do now, which is wonderful to see. On top of that, it is a P-40. It does feel a little bit lumbering at rolling, just like all the other P-40s, but the strength of the P-40 while turning has always been the elevator with conjunction of the ailerons. What it has is an average elevator and an average set of ailerons when it comes to roll rates, but once you put them together, the magic begins with this, especially out of a dive. So what we're going to do here is just check the dive on it. It should be pretty good. Let's see when it locks up. So we're at 600. Let's see. Yep, we have full control. Let's try 700. Ooh, it's a little bit heavy, so we'll just do that and then back down again. Let's see if we can get to 800 without killing our pilot. 770. Okay, so the limit is around about 800, which is fine for an aircraft like this. You still have full control of the elevator, so this isn't like one of the later tier Fokker-Wulfs where it just locks up and hits the ground. The maneuverability of this aircraft is not the best, especially when you compare it to aircraft that it's going to face, but it does have a good dive on it, meaning that if you can hit that high altitude sweet spot and be able to sit there and wait for the enemies to dive, such as like how this 202 is done here, then dive on them, you're going to be in a pucker position to be able to finish them off, which is exactly how you play the P-40E, and it seems like exactly the way you're going to play the P-40F. The fact that they're both the same BR indicates to me that Gaijin does not believe there is enough of a difference between them in order for them to change or be different BRs, and I completely agree with that assessment. The way this flies, or the way it's going to fly in-game with its war emergency power, it's plenty of ammunition, it's good dive speed, and not best energy retention when it comes to it, but still good enough. It means that... oh my god, that 50 sound. Oh. It means that this is going to be a very run-of-the-mill average aircraft, which you can do well in. And you can carry games in, but there's nothing really intriguing about it, which is That guy just went through a tree. What is this tin sound? Okay, it sounds a little bit better in the cockpit, but it sounds like I'm sat in the gun barrel, and the bullets are rattling out of the end of it. I suppose that kind of makes sense since I'm right next to it. But it is an interesting thing. It does keep its speed well in a turn and also in a straight line. One of the great things about the P-40 is that. And as long as you get used to the guns and are able to shoot them straight, unlike I can right now, what you will find is a very serviceable aircraft. If you're looking for something that is the best in its BR or in the meta, then unfortunately that's not what you're going to get out of this machine, but you're going to get a machine which is easily capable of doing whatever you want it to do. The climb rate on it is okay. That is one of the issues that it kind of has, and hopefully with the boosted engine, once it's modeled in, that will be helped in the upcoming update. But unfortunately right now, this is just a P-40E, or at least it seems like it. No real difference here, which means that it is good. The 50 cals are also great to aim with. I know I'm doing them a disservice right now, but overall they are incredibly accurate, especially when upgraded. So that is always something to look at. The elevator responds really well, at least compared to a lot of the other aircraft that I've been testing recently. The plane, as I said, it just responds well, it does what it does, and that is what makes it a P-40. A lot of people may dislike it because there's nothing insanely interesting about it, but for me, I prefer this type of aircraft over something that is all shiny and crazy, because there's a lot less to go wrong, and means that it's not going to screw with the meta too much, it's still going to be fun to fly, and it's going to be competitive without, well, a lot of people being annoyed, or without being a crazy prototype. So yeah, overall, this will be one of the first planes that I research, and hopefully one of the first ones that you research, since it's low in the tree, and gonna be fun to fly with a nice skin. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.